Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to create custom textures for your custom models. So the first step is to download something called Quixel Bridge. You can go to quixel.com/bridge and then you can just download Bridge. Go ahead and install that. And then when installing it, you'll have to install the Unreal Engine plugin as well. There's some documentation on it. I guess here, help.quixel installing the Megascans plugin. So this document kind of takes you through it, but I'll kind of show you a little bit here as well. But basically, when you're installing Bridge, after you've installed it and you load it for the first time, you'll end up with this dialog, this setup dialog. And of course, so you first define your library path on your computer, just where you want Bridge to store stuff. And then you choose Unreal Engine as your export target, and then you choose download plugin. Once that's downloaded, you have to give it the engine version. So in this case, it'll be like 4.26, and then the plugin location. So the plugin location is going to be here in your C drive, UE426, engine, plugins folder. And so all it's trying to do is install this Megascans plugin folder, with its stuff in it, into this folder, this plugins folder here. So you give it that. And I think that's pretty much it. So once you give it all that information, you should just be able to hit go and it should install. The next thing you're going to want to grab is Quixel Mixer, and that's where we actually create the textures. So Bridge is just to bring your models and your textured models over from the Quixel workflow into Unreal Engine. But Mixer is actually where you create the textures themselves. So they're both at Quixel. They're both Quixel products, Bridge and Mixer. So go ahead and download Mixer as well and install that. I think for both Bridge and Mixer, they're owned by Epic now. So you'll need to actually sign up for an Epic.com account and log into these to actually get access to everything. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load I'm going to load the Trilogy project here, and I'm going to do all my work in there. So in your case, you'll be loading up your mod kit probably, or some separate project. The mod kit will be just fine for this. So what you're looking for is you want to make sure that you have this Megascans icon up here at the top. That will just ensure or confirm that the Megascans plugin was installed to the engine. So, and it should just be activated by default, and you don't really need to do anything with this. It just needs to be there, and it just allows you to it allows Bridge to just communicate in real time and then export and transfer stuff to Unreal in real time. So let's see. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to create kind of a random model here. So I'm going to load up my modeling tools, and I'm just going to start building something. Actually, I'm going to make sure I'm in my meshes folder here, and I'm just going to start building some kind of random model here, so bear with me. I covered all this in the last video, in case you're wondering how to do this. Something like that. Okay, that's probably good enough. So let's see. So yeah, the next thing I'll do is I'll actually just I'm going to apply some material IDs to this. So this one's not that bad, but when you're assigning material IDs, it can be kind of tough to select all the individual triangles. You can do it manually like this. This selection mode is actually really useful for this. So what I'll do is I'll go in here, I'll hit clear, so that'll clear out that selection I just made. And I find that this is really useful for selecting triangles, is just do all in group, and then it will start operating on this polygroups thing. So if I just, for example, click this, see, it'll select both those triangles in that group, and then I can just single click around. This is really useful if you had like a ton of triangles or something. You could just click it and it would already have combined all of them, so you don't have to do as much clicking. Yeah, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this, I'm going to actually create a couple material IDs. We're going to have a total of 3 on this model. So right now we're on 0, so the whole thing is assigned to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick one that I just made here. So I'm going to select material ID 1, and I've already selected these faces, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign these faces to 1. So just by clicking this. There you go. And then what I'll do is I'll do one more here actually. Actually, you know what? I'll just do 2 materials. I think that's probably enough actually to get the point across. So I'll just delete that one. So we'll just have 0 and 1. So basically this middle part's just going to be a separate material from like the top and the bottom. The top and the bottom will be the same because they'll both be 0. So I'll just accept that, and then we'll see them here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing the UV stuff here. So I'm going to first do a UV projection, and I'm just going to accept that, and then I'm going to do a UV layout with a repack at 1024. In fact, I think I might make this 4096 because I think that's actually the texture resolution we're going to be using. It's basically 4K textures. Yeah, so I'm going to hit accept. There we go. It's nicely UV mapped for us. So the next thing we need to create are these things called bake maps, and these are really useful when you're creating these textures in Mixer. It actually expects you to have some of these, and then you can use them, and I'll show you in Mixer like how we use these to define different areas of the model to mask or like operate on. So yeah, so if you go to bake maps, the first one we're going to generate is basically just what's called the normal map bake map. And it's kind of hard to explain what a bake map is, but it's basically like it's baking like shadow information, which is ambient occlusion, or normal information onto this UV map texture. You can actually kind of see what that's going to look like here. It gives you like a preview. So this is our UV map packed UV map that we just made, and then it's basically generating this texture, and then we're going to bring that into to Mixer to use. So yeah, the first one we'll generate is just the normal map, and then we want to select 4096. And this can take a little while to generate. In this case, the normal doesn't really take that long. Yeah, you can just leave this at 0, 4096, tangent space normal map, and then just hit accept. And then that will actually dump it right out here into the same folder that your model was in. So we have a nice baked texture here. So I'm just going to save all. So that's just our normal map, baked normal map. We're going to do another. We need 3 total bake maps for Mixer, so we're going to do that. We're going to do ambient occlusion next. This one takes forever, so I'm just going to click 4096, but it might take like, literally like, it can take like 3 or 4 minutes to generate. So I might clip this part in the video just so it doesn't take so long. So I'll see you back in just a second here. All right, so that actually finished. Took about a minute or two. So I'll just go ahead and hit accept. And we'll see the ambient occlusion map there. So again, it's just a texture that it's created with information on it. So in this case, it's a texture with like shadow information. So let's see, next one, the last one we'll create, we'll go to bake maps and we'll do a curvature. And that one goes a lot faster. So 4096. And there you go. So just hit accept. And we got it. So we'll do file save all. All right. So the next thing we have to do, this is really important to get the material information, the material IDs essentially out to mixers. You have to actually, not here on the model in the level, but you want to double click and open the actual static mesh here. And so you'll end up with this other window here. And then what we need to do is we need to apply actual materials to this, or else it won't pick them up in Mixer for some reason. So what I've done is, like, for example, I'll have this base folder, and I like to create these like base kind of material types. So I have this really nice one called m_plastic_base. So this is what it looks like. It's just like a color with zero metallic, a lot of specular, so like 0.95 specular, and then zero roughness. And that gives you this kind of plastic effect. And so just a very simple material. And then what you do is you can right click the material, create a material instance. And then what I do is I put those instances in here. So as you can see, this is like one of my favorite folders to visit because it's got all these like this really cool gradient transition here, color transition. But anyways, these look really nice, and I have these really nice solid colors for all different types of plastic materials. So like once you create the material instance, you know, all you have to do is you can just click color, and then you can just literally, you know, change the color here, and it will give you like a whole new color of plastic. So basically, I like to usually apply the plastics to this when I'm exporting it. So what I'll do is I'll just pick this first one, and I'll just type, let's just something random like plastic red, and then I'll choose this one and just do something like plastic yellow. There you go. So I'll just save that, and that's just really important to make sure we have actual materials applied to this before we export. Yeah, so at this point we're actually ready to export everything that we just made, so which is just this static mesh and also these bake maps. So we'll start with this one, and we'll just export the static mesh, and I'm just going to throw it on my desktop, and I'm just going to make a folder, you know, called like texture video. So I'll save that. I'm just going to export it with all the defaults, FBX 2013, and then I'm going to shift click these, and I'm going to asset actions, export those, and all of them are going to go here. So I'm just going to save them. It's going to save them as target files or TGA files. So save, and then it'll do the next one, and then it'll do the next one. So kind of just batch exports them. All right, save everything, and yeah, we're actually done in Unreal Engine 4 just for the moment. So yeah, the next thing to do is go ahead and load up Mixer. And as you can see here, this is the kind of stuff you can create with Mixer. It's pretty powerful. I'm definitely not an expert, but I'll show you the basics at least, and you can study other videos and stuff. There's a lot of detailed videos on really amazing stuff you can do with this. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my trilogy project. You should probably create a new project first just to keep things organized. And then once you have that, go ahead and just create a new mix and give it a name. So I'll just call this texture video. And then the working resolution, I actually just keep that at 2048 just because it's like more performant. You can change it obviously, but this doesn't affect what it exports at. This is just the working resolution. So I prefer to have it at a lower resolution just because, so like again, it's just faster and everything loads faster. So just hit OK. And so the next thing we want to do is under here, we want to go into this setup tab up here, and we want to choose a custom model, and we're going to go to our desktop, and we're going to pick the box that we created. So we're just going to hit open, and there it is. Yeah, the next thing we're going to do is go to edit texture sets, and for each of these materials that it brought in, we're going to want to point it to the normal, ambient occlusion, and curvature bake maps. So this is where those bake maps come in handy. So we click the red layer that we created, and we'll choose our normal. So that'll be this one where it says normals. Hit open. We'll choose our ambient occlusion, which will be this one, occlusion, and we'll choose our curvature, which is this guy. And we have to do that for all material IDs. So we have to go to the second one, this yellow one, and we'll choose again our normals, occlusion, and curvature. And that's it. So we can just save it. We'll save it as texture video. Hit save. There we go. So in the viewport, you can obviously scroll your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. You can middle mouse click to pan, and then you can alt left click to rotate. And I'll warn you off the bat, like the rotation in this is absolutely terrible. Like I don't know. You know, it's very difficult, but you actually get kind of used to it. It just takes a while to get stuff like kind of rotated into the correct orientation. Like I haven't really figured out the best way yet. So I just kind of like get it into a decent orientation. Let's see. You'll see when you're using it how almost impossible this is to work with. I don't know how they haven't fixed this yet. It's just been like this forever. I mean, I guess they like it or something. So yeah, so as you can see, it's just really difficult to work with, but it's let's see. Yeah. Well, that's probably good enough just to get a decent view of it. Or not. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go with it like this. So let's take a look. Maybe we can do through here. This is our views. view. See if there's another way to like control the camera. Unfortunately, this seems to be it. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't get this into a decent orientation for some reason. Okay, so we'll go with this for like this for now. So, so the first thing we're going to want to do is under layers, we're going to want to create a new layer set for each of these material IDs that we created. So we're going to add a layer set. So we're going to create 3 total layer sets. So the first one will just make it for plastic red, and then the second one we'll just remove red and make it for yellow. And then for this last one, we'll have both. So it'll be like our global layer set. So layer 1 is this, layer 2 is that, and then layer 3 is both. So yeah, so we'll start just working on layer 1 here. So layer 1 will be that red. So I guess it'll be this middle part here, or maybe it'll be the outside. We'll see in a second. So the first thing I'll do, there's a lot of interesting things up here, but this is mainly where you start working is up here. So we're going to add I'll show you what a surface layer looks like. So I've installed a bunch of when you're installing this, it'll give you some options to install some of these texture packs. So I installed a bunch of them, so that's why I have all these. You may not have all of these yourself, but you can choose which ones you want to install during installation. So what I'll do is I'll just start with like a concrete, maybe like a smooth concrete or something. And so it's loading that in. And there you go. So that's what that looks like. And so what you can do is you can actually, it gives you some options here on the right. You can try to play with these yourself. Some of the more useful ones that I found are scaling it. So as you can see here, you can start to see like way less tiling as you start to scale it. So you can kind of figure out like, you know, what looks good. So you can kind of adjust that in real time. And you can also really easily change the albedo or like the general color, which is really useful. So if you wanted this to be, so you can really change, you can give it like completely different colors and it still looks the same. Like it's just like purple concrete. So yeah, so that's really useful as well. So the scale and the albedo. So what I'll do next is I want to start kind of customizing this texture bit because, you know, we can do a lot with this. We can add quite a bit of detail and variation and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll create I'm going to add a new surface layer. And I'm going to choose some like moss. It's mossy ground. And so it just added a new layer of moss. And so if I were to like adjust the opacity, you can see that it's layered over it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to like, you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this moss kind of like appear in the crevices of the concrete. So let's actually see. I'm going to replace this. It's kind of like something with like a little bit more detail, maybe broken concrete. Yeah, let's try that. All right, so I'm going to click this moss, and what I'm going to do is I have to go to full screen so you can see down here. I can add what's called a mask stack. So that adds this little guy here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to first use a curvature mask. And I'm going to try to do cavities only. And I'm going to use the current layer. I'm going to try to adjust it. So you can see like some of the moss is now like appearing in the cavities. See that? I can also invert it. That's not really useful. But yeah, look at that. So now we have moss like growing in the cavities. You can also, well, I won't even do that. We're about to do some edge wear as well. But as you can see, that's pretty cool. Like already, how you can see that moss growing inside of the concrete like that. So I'll save that up. So then what we'll do is I'm going to create a just a solid layer now inside of it. And so, and you can just turn things on and off. I can just turn that layer. As you can see, it just kind of overrode this whole thing here. But it's already like kind of mixing it in. And so what I'm going to try to do with this is maybe just add some like edge wear onto the concrete. So to do that, we'll create another mask. And we'll go here and we'll choose another curvature mask. And then this time we're going to do edges only. So it's only going to find like the edges. So you can already kind of see it happening here. It's kind of wearing just the edges here. So I'm actually going to adjust the color a bit so it's a little bit easier to see. There you go. Look at that. Hit apply. And then I'm going to go ahead and adjust these levels again. See, you can really create some really interesting effects, some like wear effects, just right on the edges only. You can use underlying mix. You can just try different things to see what it does, but I think this looks the best right here. So yeah, that looks pretty decent. So I'll just save this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another solid layer, and we'll give it some other type of color here. I guess maybe something dark again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another mask. And we're going to use a different type this time. We'll use a texture map. And then we'll use a base map. And we'll choose our ambient occlusion map. And then what we want to do is, it's actually, so if we go here, we can see the different things. And so let's see, if we go to active mask. So yeah, so this is the ambient occlusion mask. This is actually pulling this information. This is that shadow information from the bake map right here. And so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to make this kind of like dirty, just where this, where the black is essentially. So to do that, we'll go back to PBR. I just wanted to show you that so you can see. So what's happening now is that it's actually inverted. We need to hit invert and see now we're actually getting into it's only going to draw like where the shadows are. Yeah, and so we can adjust the range to see what that might look like. See, you can see it as I pull this in. Look at that. See? So now it's adding, it's only adding this color here essentially to that area. So like, let's make it look kind of dirty. So we'll go back here, maybe make the albedo maybe something like a brown, right? It's kind of like some kind of dirt, right? There you go. And so that's why those bake maps are really useful. So we're already using the bake maps. We're using it for this. We're using it for these edges from the curvature map and stuff like that. And I even think maybe even some of it's being pulled in here, like maybe the normal map is what was allowing it to find the divots. So that's why that's really important to create those bake maps. So yeah, so this actually looks pretty good already. So I'll just save it. And then actually, let's do one more thing. We'll create another solid layer. And then what I'll do is I'll give it another mask. And we'll give it a noise mask, like a Perlin noise. You can see it just starts, see as you turn it on and off, you can see what it's doing. It's literally just painting based on a noise. And then what you can do is you can, when you select this, you can change, the seed. And see, so to change how much it applies and how it applies, you're really just going to be adjusting these values, like the amplitude and the frequency. So as you increase the frequency, it's just going to be like tighter repetition. And as you decrease, it's going to do that. And so, of course, and then amplitude, see, you can really make quite a few adjustments there. So we're just kind of making it dirty, and so we'll go back and make it, maybe give it kind of like a darker. See, now we can really see what's kind of going on there. So you don't have to do all this to yours, but it just depends on what you're trying to achieve. Like if you want to get it to look dirty or whatnot, these are just some options you can do. See if you can keep adjusting that. See, it's a little bit nicer. So it's not so. Yeah, you can adjust the octaves, so you can make it have like more detail essentially. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. As you can see, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot different than what it originally looked like. So like for example, we've added a lot of interesting detail here. So for example, if I were to that's what we started with, and this is what we've added. So you can actually see like we're adding moss there into the crevices. we're adding some edge wear here. And we're adding some dirt into these crevices, and then we're adding in also some noise as well. So save it up. So that's if you want to kind of like build your own custom stuff. And one of the other things they have, so for this next layer set, we'll move on to the next layer set, which will just be this center area. They have something called smart materials. So we can just like choose pretty much any smart material that we want. Maybe scuffed paint, I guess. We'll just, I mean, there's a bunch that you could choose from. You know, different types of metal, and it just keeps going. Like I have quite a few that urban camo. Who knows what that is? But yeah, we'll just pick something like, I don't even know, what is this? Dirty slimy. We'll just go with it. So it's what it's doing is basically. Quixel has essentially saved let's see. They've essentially saved some of these settings that we did here into these kind of like presets, which are these smart materials. And so once you apply the smart material, it gives you this little folder in that layer set. And you can actually click on these things, and you can click on like the masks, and you can see exactly how they were built. And you can even go in and adjust the settings and really get in there and adjust, the dirt, the slime, height details, the base plastic. All this is available, like the albedo stuff, everything that we were doing before, but it's just like a preset. So yeah, so that saves us like a lot of time if we just want to quickly get some nice materials down like this, for example. So we'll go ahead and save that. And so that was our layer set 2. And so what we'll do now is we'll look at this last layer set, which is really neat. So in this one, it's actually applying to all layers at the same time. So this is a really nice way to like homogenize or just bring the whole thing together if you want to apply wear and tear to like all of it. So what I'll do just for fun on this layer is I'm going to create a noise mask. And so we're just going to apply like a general kind of like grit or noise across like the entire model. So let's try to do that. So basically I just added this noise into layer set 3, and I'm just going to start adjusting this. It's actually interesting. I think and you should be able to select the type of noise. Let me retry that again. The point is you can see that it's applying it to everything here. See that? So I'm just playing with settings just to see if I can find something that looks reasonable. So that's interesting. You can actually yeah, so this doesn't look too great, but the point is that you can apply, what I'm showing is that you can it's applying it to all layers at the same time. I had this looking better earlier. But that's cool. I think we'll just go with this. So yeah, so we'll save it up. And so at this point, we're actually ready. We've custom textured our model that we had made in Unreal Engine. And we'll go ahead and we're going to export this to Bridge. So to do that, we'll go to Export, and we'll choose Library, and we'll make sure this is a 3D asset. And we don't have to, well, yeah, we'll select NARC, even though it's actually Trilogy. That was just the old name. And this is where you can set now the actual output texture. So we'll go to 4096, and that should be it. And we can just hit Export to Library, and then we have to wait. It takes a while, and it's basically just generating all the textures for this and getting it out to Bridge. And then from Bridge, we can export it to Unreal. And the reason Bridge is so cool is actually once this is exported, Bridge kind of becomes like a really nice asset library for you. So not only, so Quixel has hundreds or even thousands of assets and models and stuff that they have that are also stored in there. But you'll get all of your own texture models and textures as well in there. And what's cool is, so once it's in Bridge, you can actually export this to like any project that you do in the future, or the current one that you're working on. So it's kind of a nice place to keep your models, and you'll see that now. So yeah, so it looks like it just finished exporting. So we'll go ahead and load Bridge up now. And there's a little bit of an odd bug. You'll see, like, I'll load Bridge, and then when we go to here to our local computer, to local, and then we go to Mixer, you'll notice that like the thing we just made isn't in there. And so it's funny that if you just close Bridge down and then reopen it, it should be in there now. So just an odd bug. For some reason you need to load Bridge twice. So we'll go here, and now boom, we have 7 instead of 6. And yep, there it is, texture video. That's what we just created. So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to click that. And it's already set to 4K, and we just want to, it already knows, when you installed Bridge, you'll have already told it to, to use Unreal Engine and 4.26. It already knows about that. And then you do need to have Unreal Engine needs to be open before you run this export. So just make sure your mod kit's open, and of course make sure that this is the thing that allows it to do that export. And so you just hit export, and it will begin the export to Unreal Engine. And there it goes. It's actually already exported it. So yeah, Unreal Engine, it'll give you this pop-up. You're trying to just hit yes if you want to import it as a single mesh, and then it will start actually now completing the import on the Unreal Engine side. And I think that's it. So what I usually do at this point, I'll go File, Save All, and it will go in and then save everything it just exported as well. So once you export it, it's going to be under, you're going to get a Megascans. It's going to automatically create a Megascans folder in your project. And then under 3D assets, you'll see the thing that it just exported. So there it is, texture video. So I'll actually delete this one out of the map. We'll open this, and then there you go. So here's everything it just exported. See, so you can see it actually created the material for you, the material instance actually off of like the main Megascans material, and it exported all of your UV map textures and everything, and it gives you a static mesh. So what you can do, for example, is you can literally just drag this mesh, and there you go, right into the level. And you can rotate it. And so yeah, like sometimes the smart materials, I don't really use them that often. For some reason, they haven't really been coming in very well. Like it doesn't look as exactly the same as it does, but these custom materials that I'm making always look great. Always look basically how it looked in in Mixer. So you can see we have all that detail. We got the moss and the concrete and the edge wear, and we got this the edge, the grime on the in these crevices basically. And so yeah, you can move it around. And snap it to the ground. So yeah, I think that's actually everything I need to show you with regards to this. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed. Yeah, I think this is pretty much good. So, of course, this isn't like a fully complete, or fully comprehensive tutorial. So feel free to look up other videos on how to use Mixer, but everything's free with it for use with Unreal Engine. So it's a really powerful tool, especially if you get good at it. It allows you to do these really cool custom textures. And of course, you can do more than just this grimy concrete. You can do all sorts of textures, from metallic, plastics, of course, and anything else. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this is really helpful. And I'll see you guys later.